Welcome, 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 welcome to Who Let Their Moms Out.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Is
This
that
was like a
good?
Pomeranian. It was like a Pomeranian bark. Is this the dog we're going
Ah,
for?
no, I didn't even know. I was not trying to do a type of dog. Wow. Look at me, guys. Not a Labrador.
she, she, ha- she has become so good at the bark. She now like embodies a type of breed through her bark. I love it. I love it. If this isn't success, I don't know what is. Welcome to Who Let the Moms Out, the podcast where two I was gonna say senile, which isn't totally wrong. Two almost senile moms who are clearly losing it get together to talk all kinds of random shit. Welcome to Hula the Moms Out, the podcast that you did not know you needed in your motherhood.
For
Oh,
her
this is a
journey.
we are a mess. We are a mess. It is Monday at 8:30. We thought by meeting up earlier than usual we would do better, but I think this is working against us.
Yeah, this time difference
Wow.
is something. He's doing
So
it
if
to
you don't
our
know
brains.
this, yeah, honest. If you don't know this, Paula's all the way in Europe and I'm all the way in Hawaii. So we have a 12-hour difference and the only time for us to meet because I am like a chicken. The sun goes down and I'm falling asleep with like drool coming out of my mouth. So by 8 p.m. or 9 p.m., which
She's
is her morning,
unreachable by 7.
unreachable. By 7:30, I put Alaska to bed and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna put Alaska to bed and I have time. And by 7:45, there's drool coming out of my mouth on the couch. Um, so the only time we can meet is my morning, Paula's night. But she's sort of transitioning into her early night era as well. So she was yawning before we started talking. Let's see if we make it.
Yes. Yes, I am. I don't know what you're doing to me, but maybe it's age. It's oh yeah, I just turned 30.
You have no excuse. You're like 5 years younger than me. You gotta keep this going for a little bit longer, please. Please. You cannot be
Fine.
already, you know.
I'll try.
All right, today we're going to talk about mom guilt, which I'm sure if you're listening to this, you have it in all sorts of shapes and forms because mom guilt is never ending. So let's talk about mom guilt. Let's dive right in. I'm going to start asking you something about mom guilt because I know both Paula and I struggle with this on the daily. We are literally each other's sticky notes, reminders of, hey, it's okay. This is normal. I feel this too. It happened to me. All right, latest moment you had mom guilt. I know it was today at some point, and what was it about?
Today, actually, I haven't felt today, thankfully.
Oh
So
my God,
far,
today's the celebration day.
I know. But that's the thing as well. Like when you don't feel the guilt, you also don't notice. You just like brush it off. But
Right.
exactly, it's a celebration day. But the last time I felt guilt was I think it was yesterday, and it was just because I was telling. It was more like a patient situation, and I just responded, harshly, and then instantly I was just like, "Oh," and I felt really
Yeah.
bad, and I was just like, "Who are you to speak to him this way?" So then I went to apologize.
So
That's
I'm
my
wondering
other
if
voice in
anybody.
my head.
Oh, she talks like this.
Yeah,
Has she been a
very
smoker
angry.
her whole life? Oh
No, I think she's just old and angry.
my God, and with a throat problem. Um,
Yeah,
I was gonna
fix for
say,
her.
it's. um, I think it sucks as a parent when you respond a certain way to your child, and then if you don't come from a background of your parents fixing the way they talk to you or the way they reacted towards you, it's almost as difficult or as challenging to fix the problem than it is to think about having to fix the problem because it's almost like I freeze myself and there's two voices. One that is very faint at this point because I have a 4 year old, almost 4 year old already, but I have a voice that's like almost like I have a stance that's like, as a parent, she needs to respect, and this is your position. Why would you retract yourself? Why would you apologize? La 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 la. Like it's irrational. I know it's irrational, but it's there. Um, and it always paralyzes me. Like right after I act or say something in a way that I know is completely rude, and I should apologize because she's a human being, regardless of her age. Because to me, the way that I rationalize talking to like the way that I've been able to break the pattern of talking to my children like they're below me and less than, right? Which is the way I was raised, has been about respect, right? So in my mind, it's like,
Yeah.
she's a human being. She deserves respect, regardless of her age,
Yeah.
regardless of her comprehension level. She deserves respect. Like if you're talking to somebody who doesn't speak your language, for example, like you don't just belittle them because they don't understand what you're saying, right? And they don't understand because they're at a different place mentally,
Yeah.
right? In this case, because they're a
Yeah. Yeah.
different language.
Exactly.
It's the same thing for kids. So like,
Yeah.
why does that make it okay to like belittle them and treat them bad and lose my patience, right? But I find
But
it
it's a
so
generational thing, isn't it? It's crazy
right,
how it affects
right.
you.
It's insane because then I find myself almost frozen and I'm like, well, I know I need to apologize, but I don't know how to do that yet. And I'm feeling this rage, this anger because like I'm triggered by how she's responded to me. And the reason I'm triggered is because of like my upbringing where that was not okay. And
Yeah.
then I go back and forth between like wanting to apologize, but not knowing how to do it. And then having that voice that says, you shouldn't have to apologize. You're the adult. You need to respect your heart. You got to teach her respect otherwise.
Yeah.
And it's just like, it takes
It's
me
a
a moment,
battle.
and sometimes it's horrible. And meanwhile, your toddler is carrying on because they already forgot that you yelled at them, and then you have to like debate whether you should come back and reopen that moment and
Yeah.
apologize, or
Yeah.
brush past it and let you know. I, by the
Yeah.
way,
Like the
if that
other
gave you
day,
anxiety, welcome to my
oh,
world.
yes, exactly. If you fell in the loop, welcome. But yeah, that's the other day. That's the thing that happened as well. Like I was so angry, and then I had this battle in my head where I was like completely destroyed, like guilty, like I shouldn't have reacted this way, and I was annoyed because I was overwhelmed by everything else, not even him. But it was just like I reacted, and then I couldn't apologize because in my head, like it was a battle. Like I couldn't. I had to let it go. I had to like let him go. And then when he came back from school, then I talked to him about it and then I apologized. He might not remember it, but then like I feel like this is me more teaching myself to still go and apologize. Like no matter how long it has been, like I know I did it wrong. I know I was in the wrong, even though I reacted blah blah blah. But I should apologize even if he doesn't remember. So I try to like remind myself, because but yeah, at the moment when things that happen, like that's what it makes me even more guilty, is because I see myself outside of my body, like literally going yelling, like I can see myself and I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? And I'm just like, ah, in this like moment of anger, and then I can't stop myself and I can't stop being angry, and I have to let go of things. I have to like leave. I can't speak to anyone, can't do anything. I just know I need to be in my moment. I need to rationalize this thing going on, otherwise I'm
It's
just
so
going to
crazy.
uh,
It's so crazy because listening to you go through all this, which is literally like verbatim everything you're saying, it's a path that I go through. And I just realized that when they were little, and I know we've talked about this, how when they're little and you lose your cool, like you just realize like it's not about them. Like if all I had to do was handle them, I would never lose my cool. It's the fact that I also have to clean and organize and plan and blah blah blah. Like it's all the other crap. It's not them. Like if I just had my baby and all I had to do was just hang with my baby and like I probably would never lose my cool. I mean, maybe in the toddler years I would get overwhelmed. But what this whole thing made me realize is that learning to gentle parent, especially at the beginning of your motherhood journey, isn't really for the kids. It's mostly for you. It's teaching you how to manage your shit so that later on you don't make them pay the consequences. Because at the
yeah, on
beginning,
your first kid, yeah.
like yeah, like the
Your
toddler
first kid
doesn't
that they
care.
have to
They go to
teach you.
school when they come
No,
back.
no,
They
no,
don't
yeah.
they don't remember what the hell happened. But
No.
you knowing that you went back and you apologize is basically slapping that guilt in the face and saying, I'm bigger and I'm better than this. Like I'm working at it. I know I yelled. Yes, okay, I lost it. Yes, okay, I did
Yeah.
something wrong. Yes, okay, whatever. But you know what? I'm better than this. And
Yeah.
it's so challenging because it's once again advocating for ourselves when we never had that situation happen for us. And it's just
Yeah.
it's a
It's
loop. It's
wild.
a loop.
Yeah, but it's also really liberating. I find that when I apologize, I feel very free, but
Yes.
before I apologize, it still feels like I
Yes.
don't know, like someone is
It's a
stabbing me or something,
resistance.
because I am,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
and I don't understand why. I'm like, it's just apologizing, which I should do, but it's obviously, the upbringing, which I've never had, my parents ever
Yeah.
apologize to me for making a
Ever.
mistake
Yeah.
or yelling at,
Yeah.
so it's just like,
But I think it's also coming to terms with the fact that apologizing doesn't validate your lesson and doesn't make you wrong. Apologizing just means I care enough about you. I care about you
yeah,
enough to not let this be. You know what I mean? So it's like it
yeah,
doesn't
it
mean like
is.
I tell Alaska all the time because Alaska always comes to me and she she knows that I apologize. So now whenever I say no, she just goes, "You need to apologize to me because you said no." And I'm like, "No, like I will say no." And there, she's so, Alaska is too much. Like this child, she's my kid. So, you know, if I say no in a rude way, I always apologize. But of course, she takes it to the next level. And now she's like, every time you say no or you don't let me do something, then I have to apologize. And so I keep explaining to her, you know, there will be many times where I will say no, I'm gonna disagree, but I'm gonna do things that you don't agree with, you know? It's my job to do those things. And I don't always say it this calmly in case anybody's listening and
Obviously.
thinking, wow, she's so good. It doesn't always sound
She's
like this.
so chill. Sometimes it's like,
She's so fucking perfect.
no. Yeah.
You know, but I try to tell her, I'm like, you know, it's not about like I am going to do and say things that you don't agree with and you don't like, but I still have to do them. And I think the same pep talk goes to me. And it's like, you don't want to apologize. You don't feel like it's needed. Just do it anyway. Just do it
Yeah.
and see what happens. Because you're right. At the other side of it, like, I think this is why for older people, I don't know if you grew up hearing this in your country, but in my country, it was very much like, I am already old. I can't change my ways. Like, this is how I am. I'm old. It's
Yeah.
hard to change when you're
I'm
old.
doing this
I
for all my
think
life. I'm not changing now.
yes, yes, it's that resistance to change. And now that I think of it, the people who used to tell me this when I was a kid were not old. They were like in their 30s, early 30s. I'm like, what the hell were you talking about?
Yes,
Calling yourself
that's
old?
the problem as well. Like now that you think about it, like this was my 30-year-old uncle that was saying this shit. It's
Yeah,
just
like
like
you're pulling this car. Yeah, you're like a 27-year-old pulling the old car. Like you are definitely young enough to change. Get changing.
get moving, bro. Okay, my question. Huh. Okay, write them down on the phone this time. If you guys didn't watch it 2 episodes ago, I forgot all the questions, okay? That's what happened. Okay, so what is the one thing that you felt guilty, like you felt mom guilt about that you'd never expected, like before you became a mom, like you never really expected to feel guilty about this one thing? I know, whatever, like maybe looking after yourself, like taking 5 minutes for yourself, or
Everything.
yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, to
Literally
be fair, I never
everything.
expected mom guilt. I never expected
Yeah,
mom guilt.
you know, it's funny because of course, I had all the answers before I became a mom. I was a super good mom that was never gonna struggle and everything was gonna go smoothly. And I had all the reasons and all the resources and all the solutions for every single parent problem that I heard or saw anybody else had. Um, and I have it. I think the
Oh,
most unexpected guilt that I have is about my mom. It's about how hard I've been with my mom. I I was so entitled to feel that my mom could have done so much better in so many areas. I was so entitled to let her know all the things that I thought that she could have done differently or that messed me up or that hurt me or that I wish she would have whatever, right? And now that I'm a mom, I'm like, holy fuck.
it's
Like,
not as simple.
wow. Wow, like this woman, what she went through, what a saint. And mind you, I come from a mom that lost her shit every day, that
Yeah.
hit us, that punished us, that had not an inch of gentleness in her until we left Cuba. Like, and now I think about all the struggles my poor mother must have gone through. Like, just food. Just food. Like, I'm gonna share just the food part. My mom was a single mom with 2 kids making food in Cuba when she never learned how to make food because her mother died when she was 10. So she was never taught how to make food. And then she was left alone in a new city with 2 kids, making the 3 meals a day that we're somehow like needing to, you know, chef ourselves into. And she didn't know how to cook, and there was no food. In Cuba, there is no food. And so she would be like, the pressure of like, I gotta make this food. I don't know how to make it. And I can't ruin it because if I ruin it, there was nothing else to make more food with. And my children are like literally like, they need the
Starving.
nutrients of this food. So I can't afford to like, you know, and I think about this and I'm like, for so many years, the joke was my mom didn't know how to cook. And I'm like, of course she didn't know how to cook. She had no ingredients. Like, you give a woman
She
a
didn't have
bowl of
anything
like,
else to cook.
you know, she had like half a cup of rice, half a cup of beans, make food for 3 days for 3 people, for 3 meals a day, each day. And there's not even garlic to season it with. You know, it's like, wow, like that guilt of like every single day, there's something that happens in my family, in my motherhood journey with my daughter. Not daughters because the other one is too young, but I'm sure that will happen too. And I sit there and I think, how did my mom navigate this shit? And then I remember all the hard times I gave her. into my adult life, into my 20s, because I didn't have kids until I was 31. So all the years that I thought that, that she could have done better. And I'm sitting here going like, I have all the resources, both financial, time wise, partner wise, knowledge wise, and her
And
upbringing. And I'm still struggling with this.
yeah,
Holy shit. I did not
it
expect.
is.
Like my mom used to always say, my brother and I have this joke because my mom's like tagline of every day was like, wait till you have kids. Wait till you have kids. Just you wait. And damn it, was she right? Was she right? Crazy, no?
But you will never know until you actually have the kids, isn't it? It's crazy how that happens. I hate that. I hate that.
Yeah.
I hate that you can't like appreciate it when you
No,
before, like it's just
no,
it's such like motherhood is such a mind-boggling thing that you can't even like expect it anything before motherhood
no.
because you never know what kid you're gonna have, you never know what's gonna destroy you. That's the problem as well. Like even if you
Yeah.
know that you're gonna not sleep at night, even if you know that you're gonna have mom guilt, even if you know that our house is gonna be a mess, you never know what's gonna fucking trigger you to lose your shit for a spilled blue blackberry on a floor and just spat everywhere. You just have like you don't know what's the thing that's gonna like turn the point, and then you just like, okay, I'm just wild, loco,
This is
loco,
the
loco.
that's a mind F right there. It's like how like what?
You
Yeah.
can't prepare for this shit. You just can't even
No.
read all the books.
And I feel so guilty that I didn't, because I think that some people have the decency at least, or were somehow, I don't know. I think some people have a personality or skill or just better judgment to at least not, like, I don't know how to
Be
explain it.
harsh.
Like, I feel like, yeah, with their parents, I feel like they're like, okay, I'm 20, I don't agree with you, but I'm gonna love you and act like it's okay, But I wasn't. I was always like so quick to be like, this. Here's where you fail. This. Here's what I disagree with.
You
This.
are the older though. The problem is, I think, is because you are an older child. So I think it's a
Mm,
more of a protective mode rather than, a complaining mode. So you're just saying that more as a protective, you had your little brother there, you saw him suffer as well.
mm,
So it's just like you're protecting. Yeah, you actually would just go on mama bear mode type thing, but against your parents. So
right,
but yeah,
right.
it's quite interesting how we react like that because my sister is like that as well. So she's been like full on told my parents, yeah, you did this and this, and my brother too. I don't. I just sit there and I'm like, you fucked up, but it's okay. But that's always been me because I'm the youngest, so I've never even had the stage to speak, right? So, but you are the person who been, speaking off for your brother and being there and being like,
Yeah.
I will attack you.
Wild. It's wild how those family relations happen. Okay, what is your biggest pet peeve guilt? Like which one is the one that like sets you off? It just drives you crazy that one thing makes you explode and then feel like like what is the thing that when you feel guilty about it pisses you off that you feel guilty about it?
It's I think it's the food one. Like I feel very annoyed of them not eating or not wanting to eat something. But then it's because of myself. Like that's what I experienced my whole life. Like my whole life, everyone's been triggered to everything I eat. They still do. Everyone still does. Like everyone has to comment on everything I eat. And
Because
it's
you
because
it's
I'm
because
very
you went vegan in for Portuguese for Madeira family. Like after spending 2 months
yeah.
with your family, I understand why everybody has something to say. It's the equivalent of like when I went vegan as a Cuban, they were like, "You will die." Like I had a person straight up call my
Yeah.
mom at a party with me. Like she had just found out that I was vegan. She called my mom and she was like, "Did you hear this? She's not an elephant. She says that elephants don't need meat to have protein. She's not an elephant. She's going to die." And I was like, it's my sister's 15th birthday, and this woman is making a scene because I refuse to eat chicharrón. Like I was like, what's
You refusing
happening?
to eat chicharrón, that's actually
I was
surprising for
vegan.
me.
I know. I say that, and I'm like, oh my god, what's wrong
Wow.
with me? But yeah, I was vegan at the
Wow.
time.
But yeah, that so everyone always picked on my food. So I think that's triggered me to feel the same way when Flynn does the same thing, because he's like me. On food wise, he's exactly like me. He just likes plain things, doesn't like too much creamy things. And I am exactly the same. Like when I was growing up, it was just always like plain things. That was it for me. And but I get triggered by it. And then I get annoyed by it because I'm being triggered and feel guilty because I, reacted. And it's just like, what? And I get so annoyed at myself, but it's because I think it's like that lack of empathy that I've never had with food. So like I'm now being triggered because it's like, yeah, you don't get any sympathy either type thing. And it's just like,
Yeah.
what? It's just fucking food. What the fuck am I doing? And I get so angry with myself, of course, because I'm like, if it was me, I wouldn't eat either. So it's like, what? Come on.
I've dropped the food. I've dropped the food battle. So this is something that I'm gonna share here. Very candid, very vulnerable. But in the past, like I think since the baby came, so like 7 weeks now, I've dropped the food battle. So like we don't even have like a sit down meal a day some days, and it's okay. Like some days she comes from the park, she still has the food, or her park is her schooling. If you don't know this, my daughter goes a few days a week to a person that takes care of her in the park, and she spends 3, 4, 5 hours just running around playing outside with the kids. And then I get that time for working, and now for breastfeeding as well, the baby. But if she comes to, yeah, because it's not really me time. Like Roger always, whenever I go do something like alone in the room or whatever, he's like, enjoy. And I'm like, I'm going to work. Like, it's not like I'm going to the spa. Like the fuck anyway.
I hate when people
But
do
this
it.
is what I get. It's a season. It's okay. He's a nice man. He gave me children.
Yeah.
My children are beautiful. They have his genes. He's good. So, no, but so I've dropped a food battle, and this may be super unpopular, but my mom came and she was like, why do you need to have 3 meals a day? Why do you need to sit down 3 meals a day? She's not needing that. You're not needing that. Roger doesn't need that. The
Yeah.
baby's just eating on you. Give yourself a break. Like when the baby starts feeding, like when you start weaning Atlas, when she starts eating food, I'm gonna have to have a more structured food situation, right? Alaska's very snacky right now, but she's a very good eater, and when she gets hungry, she eats the whole plate of food. So if I just go to 1 meal a day, right? You eat breakfast, you wake up, you can have your meal, you can slowly eat whatever you want to eat, right? You go to your thing, you take your lunch. When you come back, you can finish your lunch or snack. All of our snacks, or 80% of our snacks, are healthy snacks. They're like banana, apple. She eats cucumbers as a snack. Like what can I complain about, right? And then we just have one meal, one big meal that takes her sometimes 2, 3 hours to eat because she puts it there and it's just like she prances around and eats. And before it would take me it was sort of like with the naps where I would just spend an hour, 2 hours, like, come eat, come eat, come eat. Because my daughter has never been like sat on a chair and, she's always been sort of like, you eat at your own, whatever. And it was just becoming so chaotic. And I'm just like, I'm spending such a large time of my day
Too much
either
energy
fighting
on
for
this.
food. Well, I'm either fighting for food for hours or yelling at her or feeling guilty that and it's like, she's not malnourished. My daughter has never been below the 80th percentile. Like, she's super tall, big for her age, like super healthy, has never once in her life been sick. Like, let me knock on wood. Like everything is going so well. Why am I making this? Like, why? Because everybody else is having a food issue. I have to have a food issue because that's a mom thing to do. Like, why?
Yeah.
So I dropped this whole standard of having to I make 1 meal a day. You either eat it or you don't. You can snack on things that are healthy. My only thing is it cannot be sweet. So you cannot wake up and just go and have sweet stuff.
Yeah.
And you cannot just have every snack be sweet, even if it's fruit. But other than that, eat whatever the hell you want. And man, let me tell you, it's made a big difference. Like we're so much more chill. It's so much more chill. Like at least I feel a little bit more like I don't have to just spend like my job is not being a chef, and it's so nice because it's so much. Like you don't realize how much time goes thinking and planning and making all these meals and then cleaning after them and then chasing people to eat the meals. I can't anymore.
Anybody got time for that? We don't do big meals. We'll sit sometimes and sit together, but that would be like 3 times a week if we do that.
Yeah.
And then because we also eat at different times. Like we're never hungry at the same time. Like Flynn asked for his dinner at 5:30 p.m. today. Like, we're not gonna eat at that time,
Yeah.
So it's like,
yeah.
We've dropped that. I tried last year. I'm not just saying. I'm not gonna be fighting this kid to sit down.
No. No, I think there will be a season in which we will sit down, have conversations by the dinner
And have a
table when we go
conversation
out
as
to
well.
eat.
But right now,
Yeah, yeah,
right
I
now,
can't be doing
his
this.
conversation is like repeating the same thing like 5 times, and it's just like, okay,
So if you're
no, I
listening
have
to
to
this and struggling with a food issue, permission to drop your 3 meals a day
permission.
and have
Drop the
however
ball,
many.
lower the ball, like lower the bar, lower the bar.
You will be
Okay, my
fine.
last question to you.
Go.
Okay, do you have a system to get rid of the guilt? We've sort of talked about, how we have the little talking persons, but do you have like a system where you like, you start with the guilt and then you move over and then you just like go a full cycle to,
Yeah.
apologizing?
Yeah, so I have either your voice, my sister's voice, or something that I've read. So there are some guilts that are very recurrent, like the food one, the sleep one, whatever. I have a lot of guilt, for example, on we've talked about this, we talked about it yesterday night, but I have a lot of guilt for not wanting to play with my daughter. And it's not that I don't want to play, it's just that I am in a season of life of growth and I'm so excited for myself. And with my last pregnancy, I lost so much of who I was for so long. Like and this was all me. Nobody asked this of me. I don't have a husband who needs me to become a mom and be home or anything like that. But I lost such a big part of who I was and not to find who I was becoming. I just lost myself. And I convinced myself for so long that my new job was to be, a cow and a mom and a punching bag. That was what I was, that's what I thought a good mom had to. I don't know. I have no, I
Want
don't
to
even know how to
be.
explain this, but yeah, but I completely just utterly lost myself and not in the pursuit of who I was becoming. I just dropped it. I was like, okay, let's just you know and it was so challenging for me because that's not the person I am. I love learning, I love evolving, I love bettering myself. And I think the loss of appetite for looking for what else and who else to become and how, like that loss of curiosity for who I was, it just did something horrible to me. And this time around I'm determined to not do that because I don't think that benefits any kid, to see your mom lost,
Yeah.
to have your mom be lost. And I have daughters that I want to raise to be strong and self-loving and so I think about, like, for example, the whole idea of like playing with her and not playing with her. And it's like I do want to play, but what I would rather do is talk to her and teach her things and hug her and have moments of tenderness and just other stuff, right? And so I keep reading, it keeps popping up in my feed, this whole like idea of like dads are the fun ones and moms are the ones that are nurturing and supporting and this and that. And like I hear that in my head. I remind myself of that when I have the guilt of, oh, look, she's having so much fun with that and she never has fun with me. She wants to play with me and I always say, wait, 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 or hold on, or later, or whatever. Like I have that. And then I have you when I can hear your voice on the conversations we've had for so many of the other guilds, or my sister, who I always go to about feeling guilty about all these things. I go to a psychologist, and recently I was telling her that I feel so bad that I'm on my phone so much, but it's my job. Like, it's not like I'm on my phone, like playing tic-tac-toe or, chatting with a friend or flirting with somebody. Like
Tic-tac-toe.
I don't even know if tic-tac-toe is a thing you can play on your phone. It came out of my mouth. I don't even know what tic-tac-toe is. It's the
It's
X
the
and the zero
Unicross
game.
and the yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure they have a game for that. Anyway,
I'm sure. I'm
I
sure.
generally, I don't play any games like at all. I'm like,
Clearly.
I'll play like word games, but I'm just digging myself in. Anyway, um, I feel a lot of guilt for like being on my phone, the whole like, oh, your children are seeing you like this. And then I was talking to my psychologist about it, and she was like, why not? Don't you work on your phone? It's like, yeah. She's like, don't you want to teach your child that like having your own business, or like, because I've talked to her about like, I want to teach my kid that she can be anything she wants. Like, I don't come from a family of entrepreneurs. And so it's been a really hard journey to advocate for myself, even within myself, and to fight for like, I'm going to make it on my own. Like, every single time I face adversity in my entrepreneurial journey, my instinct is go get a job because that's what I grew up with seeing all my life. And so I want to raise my daughters to think they can go get a job if they want, but they also can start their own business. You're allowed to have fun. It doesn't have to look like stress and going bald and sweating and
Yeah.
poverty and struggle for 5 years. Like, it could be fun. It could be effortless. It could flow. Like you're
Yeah.
allowed to flow into what you love to do and make money from it, you know? And so she was like, so why can't she see you on your phone? And I swear to you, it was like somebody threw a bucket of cold water on my face. I was like, oh shit. Yeah, it's not like I'm on my phone watching porn. Not that there will be anything wrong with that if that's what you want to do. But like I was like, I'm I'm working. I'm solidifying her. I'm creating the mom that she gets to have when I put my phone down. Like,
Yeah.
and I was like, so like I have a repertoire of little reminders for turning off my guilt, and that's what I do. I go through either your voice or my sisters or the reels that remind me, or my psycho, you know. I have those and I store them in a folder in my mind. So whenever the guilt comes, there are some that I don't have any help for. But like I don't have any help for the nighttime ones. I lose my mind at nighttime. I don't have the patience. My God. Like Roger sits here and massages her until she falls asleep. And I'm just like, okay, here's the story. I gotta go. Okay, good night.
I know that, me too. I've stopped doing bedtimes now. I was like, I just can't, like, this is too much
Oh,
for me, and the story and then another story, and then I know. No,
uh,
just go to fucking sleep. It's bad, and I
that's
feel
so
bad.
much.
And it's like, but it's just like, oh, I don't want to read another story. I've read three stories. Like it's just so hard. But that reminds me, like what you were saying, that of the, the phone guilt. I find that that phone feeling guilty is when I see it online. So like when I see a random bloody fucking railing, like, oh, when you're on your phone, please don't let your children see you on your phone. As soon as I see that reel that says that I'm using my phone in front of my children, the whole day, I like the phone is like over there. Even though I need to work, but
You
my phone
know,
is on the other side of the room.
you know what got me to actually talk to someone about this? Like the reason I mentioned this to my psychologist was because I was reading a book when I was really pregnant, this last pregnancy. I made a priority of reading and I stayed with it. And I was reading and she was talking to me. I'm reading. And she's like, and I'm like, finally, I'm like, what? And then I was like, oh, it's the same thing. We've been doing this to kids from the beginning of time,
Yeah,
either because of
yeah,
house
yeah.
chores or
It's not
working
because it's a
or
phone or
reading. It's
anything.
not the
No,
phone. Right, right.
the
So it's like
newspaper. It's it's
the
everything.
chores you have to do when the friend is talking to you. Like it's like, so wait, so I'm talking to an adult, the toddler's interrupting, and I'm gonna feel guilty because I'm not talking to the I gotta talk to the adult. Like I gotta finish this conversation, or
Yeah,
And so that got me thinking about it, and I was like, okay, this fear, this guilt isn't real. It can't not be real because it's not like I'm sitting there on my phone, not doing anything with my child for weeks on end. Like if I'm working, it's like I'm working, but also you're home. Like you have the benefit of being home. Like, I
yeah,
think about this all the time. It's like, I get so guilty when I don't get to go out on an excursion on any given day. And then I'm like, what kind of family gets to fucking go on an excursion every day? Alaska wakes up every day and says, ooh, is today park or beach? What kind of kid gets that
yeah.
life? My kid
Exactly.
does.
That's
What the
really
hell
good.
am I feeling guilty about? Like, my kid lives in Hawaii. My kid has lived in I don't know how many countries. Like, she can talk. The other day, she's like, I want to go back to Australia. I really want to touch another kangaroo. What kind of kid can say this at fucking 3 years old? You have a good life. Shut
Yeah, I
up.
mean, your kid says a lot of things for a 4-year-old, to be honest,
Yeah,
but 3-year-old, sorry.
the things she says. My God.
She says a lot. A lot, a lot. She's
Okay, what's yours? What's your thing? Your
my
routine for getting
process
rid of the guilt.
is I just don't. I just live
I
with it.
cry. I
I
cry for
cry.
3 days.
I do cry. I do cry a little bit. I do cry a little bit.
Me too.
Sometimes it
Me too.
helps. Yeah, it helps. It's a release, Sometimes a release. It needs to come out.
I love it when I
Because
don't cry and I'm like, I'm gonna be strong. And then I start texting you about it and I just start crying. And then I tell you, and I'm crying about it now.
yeah, sometimes I'm messaging you and you just goes, I don't know, you do this a lot, but you randomly go, are you okay? And I'm like, and then I tell you everything. And it's just like so no, but my process is like I think I need like at least 15 minutes to like think it over, like, and it just goes on my head, and I think of all the possibilities, and then I think of all the perspectives, and then from his perspective, my perspective, and then the world's perspective, and then I go and see what is fair. Is this fair for me? Is it fair for, I try to like make it logic, I guess, in my head, so I stop feeling guilty. It's not like a way of, it doesn't go away. It's not like the next time it doesn't happen again. all over again. But it's I feel like it's improving. I don't know. In 3 years. But
But the thing is,
it's
you
getting
you
better.
improve one guilt, and then another one appears. That's the thing. It's like, and that's why I have like a sort of like a little booklet of help for some of the guilts and not for the
But
others,
not all,
because some are more recent, you know?
yeah.
Like
Yeah, yeah.
yeah, like
That's the problem as well. Like you
Ala-
can never keep up, is it?
Alaska's really into like a singing, and she's always been in a singing, but now it's like we'll be talking and I'm like, okay, that and I are gonna have a like morning coffee, which we do every morning, but every morning we have to tell her, please, like, just let us talk for a moment, go do your thing. Anyway, and bro, lately, whenever we are like we're in the car and let's say like Atlas is crying or whatever, and so I put music so we can, get the other one to calm down, and Alaska just starts singing. And she has a great voice for her age. And we are actively teaching her to use her voice in a better way. It's a lot. And like singing slash yelling, really close to you when you are not really wanting a live show is a lot, especially when you already are overwhelmed because there's a child crying or there's something else going on. And it takes. I'm really proud of myself because, oh, the backstory to this is that both my mother and I have always loved singing, and we both have been put off from singing by our parents. My mom used to sing up around the house, and her mom like slapped the shit out of her once because she had already told her stop singing, and she just kept going, just like stop, and then she just never sang
Trauma.
again. Right. And then with me, from the very young age, they were like, oh my God, stop. You're just yelling. Like it's your voice is horrible. And so like it just put me off from singing forever. Um, Even though I love singing and I probably would have a lovely voice if I had been given the chance. So with Alaska, we're not gonna like, I'm just gonna
Put a dumper on
really
it.
just yeah, I'm gonna promote it. But it's becoming increasingly difficult to
It's what I was
promote.
saying before, that generational, trigger is for you because yeah, you again were not allowed to sing, and now you are
Right.
allowing your child to sing. How dare you?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
like
So yeah, we always, but like right now she is pooping, singing. And so it's right now I think she's being quiet because like she knows that I'm recording, but she'll sing out the window. She'll sing to the pigs that are going by, to the neighbors. She'll be singing on the toilet and she'll be like, I'm pooping. What are you doing? And it's just like,
Linda started to
what
do
is
that. Like,
happening?
we sing about his
It's
butt.
hilarious. Oh yeah, Alaska, and this is my fault because I do this. I just didn't expect somebody else so young to do it and so loudly. Like she makes up songs of whatever is happening, and she'll sing anywhere, like at the store, when we're in line for any kind of like legal services, in the car, in the toilet, and it's just like it's a lot. It's a lot.
Have
Like
you
she's straight
have
up.
you have you
I
had
can
to
hear
use
her.
the have you had to use the you need to use your inside voice because we are
She
inside right now.
But then she goes, yeah, but I'm singing so that Atlas will stop crying. And or what the other day, I have a video. I
But
have a
she always
video.
says something to say.
The other day she's on the trampoline jumping, like, and she goes, I'm a princess, I'm a princess. And she's just like yelling to the top of her lungs that she's a princess. And then there's a guy mowing the lawn, and it's like all this noise is happening, and she's just yelling to the top of her lungs that she's a princess unicorn. And I'm just like, it's like an asylum.
Watching.
It's like an insane asylum. It's just like I'm gonna lose my mind. And Roger's just driving, and I can tell he's just zoning everything off. And like I'm like, baby, baby. And he's like, huh, huh. And I'm like, this is a mother. He's like, I'm
Yeah,
zoning
to
it
be
out.
able
I'm
to
zoning it
drive with
out.
this, to be able to drive like that. You I have to turn off the volume of the radio just to, the go back.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Yeah, when
can't
I
even
arrive
imagine.
somewhere, I'm your typical turning everything off so I can see directions.
Exactly. And with her singing, that must be very beautiful. Well, this is a nice episode.
Oh yeah.
I kind of
Wildest thing
forgot
your
we were
child
doing
does.
episode.
That could be the next one. What's the thing your kid does that like makes you wonder whether you're losing your mind the most?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
that's a good one. I'll
Anyway,
write it up.
yes, write down for the next class. I was gonna say for the next episode. Anyway, let us know, please. Don't forget you can always find us at Hula the Moms Out That Pod on Instagram, also here on YouTube, or if you're listening to this on whatever platform you're listening to it at. But just come find us and let us know what else you would like us to talk about. We love your submissions and your requests because sometimes we don't think of a topic and how awesome it is until we hear from you, and then we're like, "Oh, genius!" So anyway, let us know what else you'd like us to brush up on, and let us know what is your biggest guilt trip as a mom. It's always fun to see the things that trigger other moms because a lot of times it's the same for all of us, you know. So maybe if we talk about it enough, we can find a universal cure of some sort.
Hopefully, a trigger warning. No, a solution warning. No, never mind. Didn't work.
Thank you so much for listening, and don't forget to subscribe if you enjoy our. Do you say subscribe when it's just a podcast as well? It's confusing because we know these are videos for YouTube
I think
as
it's
well.
follow on Spotify and Apple Podcast, and on YouTube is subscribe.
Well, there you have it. We will see you next week. Bye.